Hello guys! So everyone is going on holiday this year and I'm looking at the pictures and think like, oh, I can't afford going on holiday, but I decided to just go and discover some local places. I'm sure my city has a lot to offer. Let's go! Well, should have done it while it was still summer. So it's tea time after all. Today I want to talk to you about character design. Characters are pretty much the most important component of your story. It's difficult to have a great comic where the characters suck. They don't have to be likable, but they at least should be believable and interesting. And characters can be the easiest part about your story, but also the most difficult. The characters is where the reader connects emotionally to your story, where they can relate or not relate. For me personally, it's always easy to design the protagonist, as I spend a lot of time thinking about the kind of situations they might find themselves in. But then there are some side characters who are necessary for the plot, but might end up being nothing but plot devices because you didn't shape them properly. They can be quite difficult to write and design, and they might end up having no depth to them whatsoever. In this video I would like to talk about how to design all kinds of interesting characters. And I'm not gonna only talk about the visuals, but first let's talk about the character web. Remember, no character stands alone in the story, or rarely. He exists in relation to others. He is defined by his relationship, how he influences the people around him and how they influence him. If only your protagonist and maybe some main characters are interesting and the rest isn't, then your story might end up being a bit one-dimensional. If all the side characters are only there to fulfill a certain role and have no depth to them whatsoever, then all they will be are plot devices, in which case it might be hard to have a believable story. You see it, for example, when a villain is being evil simply for the sake of being evil. He wants to destroy the world because evil! Or if a side character is there just for the comic relief. Or if a hot lady is just there to look hot. And that never happens in Hollywood. And I'm by no means innocent in this case. When I was drawing Stupid Girl 100 years ago, the love rival Tsume was just that. A love rival. I'm sorry Tsume, you deserve better. Your only function was to like Amiko and make Takashi jealous. And the worst part about this is nobody likes these characters. Because they have no real personality. At least I should have given him a reason why he fell in love with the protagonist. She looks just like Chichi! Or something. Anyways, give them a background. It doesn't have to be super deep, but it shouldn't be non-existent. Maybe the readers will still hate the character, but at least they won't be doing it for the wrong reasons. Or, I hope not. Don't you dare hating Tsume for his terrible hair color. He's the worst written character ever. Same goes for characters who hate each other, by the way. Why does the rival bully the protagonist? Don't just make him an asshole. Make him an asshole with a background. Think about how your characters relate or oppose to each other. What does the existence of each character mean to the protagonist? And what does the protagonist mean to them? Is there a moral disagreement between them? Are there certain dependencies? Is there love involved? How would each character react in the same kind of situations, and how would they act upon it? While asking those questions, always keep the main goal or conflict of your story in mind. When possible, try to make each character distinguishable from the other characters, and this includes the visuals as well. By creating contrast, you can emphasize how certain character thinks and looks. A big muscly guy might still look pretty weak in the world of giants. Or a dressed up girl might look like a wildflower on Marie Antoinette's ball. Not only does it create a variety in your cast, it can also be an important part of your world building. I know it can be hard to draw different type of faces and bodies once you are used to a certain style. And it can be hard enough to make one character look the same all the time. How are you supposed to draw different kind of bodies and faces and so on? Here are some things that you can play around with and change your character's visuals without too much effort. Height, weight, skin color, one of the easiest, eyes, nose, mouth shape. Especially the eyes can say a lot about the character. Sharp, soft, big, small, dreamy, crazy. Hips, shoulder width, accessories. And yeah, obviously the hairstyle, but don't make it your go-to solution. Practice, 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 and experiment a lot. Use real people as a reference. Once you have decided on a character design, try to stick to it. If changes are happening to a character's outward appearance, they should be for a reason. I know in real life we just cut our hair if we feel like it, but if your character cuts his hair, then it should be for a reason. For example, a breakup. That's actually quite typical in real life as well. Or if a character keeps changing their style, make it their characteristic. They just like trying out new stuff all the time, and maybe there is even a reason for that. Which brings me to my next point. Play around with the inner and the outer characteristics. So if this character likes to change their style all the time, maybe they do it because they still haven't figured out who they are and what they want to do in life. So their outward appearance might signalize what's going on inside them. Or let's say you have a character with glasses in your story. Usually the reader expects this kind of characters to be calm, serious and intelligent. And they can be just that. It doesn't mean that they are not interesting, but you can also make them complete opposite. They get angry easily and they laugh at pretty much everything. Break the expectations a reader might have and break your own expectations. An amazing practice for this can be any pen and paper game where you roll your character's attributes. For example, Mate RPG. And I know it sounds like some kind of fetish game, but hear me out. You roll for what kind of weapons they have, you roll for their hair color or eye color or dress color. You also roll how they react to stressful situations and for all the other attributes and talents they might have. And often you have the kind of combinations that you would not have thought of yourself. And then you have to figure out how your character will act according to these attributes. And you can do it basically with any kind of pen and paper game. In general, I think every storyteller should play Dungeons and Dragons or any kind of pen and paper game. And I will be talking about this in another video. Another thing that makes the characters distinguishable are their clothes. You can give each character a few distinguishable accessories like glasses, tattoos, braids, scars, a watch, a hat, and so on. By giving your character a few specific characteristics, the reader will know it's them even when they see only a part of their clothing or their body. But again, don't go overboard with tons of little details. They are distracting and a pain in the ass to draw. The clothing can depict their background, their beliefs, their character. For example, a character who dresses in a way that is not really accessible by the society is a rebel. Someone who doesn't like to fit into societal norms and who doesn't comply with any rules. With clothes you can show what age someone is, what religion, what occupation, what status, and so on. Just like with the protagonist, you have to think about how each character expresses him or herself. Their speech can tell something about them. Are they using a very few words, or is their speech very descriptive? Are they swearing a lot, or, and this is the hardest for me, do they have an accent? Is their speech very sophisticated? Facial expressions and gestures are also part of self-expression. How much do they show? They can exaggerate every emotion and gesture, or they can react with the same bored face to everything. Creating character sheets is never a bad idea, this way you always have a reference at hand. Especially if you have a bad memory like me and have to look up certain details of a character after you have drawn them for like 2 days. Alzheimer's coming for me. I think everyone here can agree that characters are the most fun part about pretty much any story. World building is great, but it can seem pretty mundane if the characters in it are pretty one-dimensional. Make your characters interact with each other and the world around them in an interesting and unique way. And not only will you enjoy creating the story yourself, your reader will enjoy it too. And that's pretty much it on my part. On the next video I'm planning to talk about the protagonist in particular. what kind of qualities they need to be interesting and compelling. So stay tuned for that. If you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, then write them down in the comments below. Also, if you want to see more of my stuff, then just subscribe to my channel and press the notification button. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Animix. And you can also read my online manga Another Me for free. All the links will be in the description box below. Thank you for watching, see you next time! And I hope you could make more out of this summer than me.